So a friend of mine in the complex where I stay said to me, I must come down to the bowling club here at Roosevelt Park. Now that is just down the road from Northcliff corner. And then you come to, well, if you look for the sign that says Bev's Burgers on this road between Northcliff corner and going on the way to Graymont, then you'll come across the bowling club. And of course, if you just walk on a little bit beyond the bar, to the back of the bar, you'll see on this side. And they said if I just walk on a bit further and I go beyond the red doors, I will find an interesting other world.
Yeah, so we're playing different games here. So this is War Machine. That is 40k, so that's actually the most popular game. It's worldwide. They play a lot of tournaments, and I think some of the tournaments like 4,000 people. They get a lot of tables and they play. And I think that the end is also 40k. So yeah, we play different games here at the club. Right now, tabletop wargaming is in a really good place.
Like a distance of 3 or what?
What do you mean?
When we're shooting through a forest. If I'm in the forest, it's fine.
So you get games for everything. So fantasy, if you're into like, you know, swords and elves and stuff like that. And this is a bit more like steampunk. So you see they've got like these monsters with like all these gadgets and stuff. And then 40k is like more sci-fi. In the future, they call the setting grimdark.
Yeah. Well, anything that's a Cephalix has stealth, except for my Warhammer.
Oh, those things stealth.
Because
they like big. They clank while
they
walk.
proud in your mind.
They clank while they walk.
That's what they're doing. They're just hiding from you psychically. It's not actually.
Okay, that makes sense.
They're not actually invisible. They just erase their memory. They're like, have you watched Doctor Who?
Yes, yeah.
The silence.
Yes.
The silence.
Yeah. Okay.
So you look up and you've got things on your arm. And that's it.
There are phases in the game.
Okay.
Like there's the first, it starts as your command phase. So you get 1 CP or a special rule for your army. Like these guys, for example, they have a little thing called a beacon that starts on your main phase.
But it seems very overwhelming when you start and just look at all the rules. But like anything else, you know, you start small. So this is full battles, but we start small with a small group of models, and you roll just a few dice and you get the mechanics right, and then you expand, becoming a bit bigger, playing bigger armies. And then eventually, before you know it, you're deep into it, you enjoy the model building, you enjoy the painting, you enjoy the gaming. I mean, we find that very, very, very regularly.
He hits one. Now his strength is 9, their toughness 6, so I need a 3.
So just because you shot him, it doesn't mean he fell down.
Yeah. Now I hit him. Now he has to make a saving throw. So this will make his saving throw even worse. Penetration of 4.
Oh, okay.
So he saves on 2s. Now he will be saved on 6s, but he has something called a vulnerable save.
Common question is that people ask me, you know, what's the cost? And that really depends on what system you play. So 40k, as you can see, they need a lot of models. And you get the big models like the tanks, and you know, they cost a lot. So we usually joke, we say it's not just 40k the game, it's the cost of the game as well. but no, I think you're probably looking at about 10 grand to get a decent tournament sized tournament.
Run. Is this the second phase you're in, or the first phase?
First.
This is first turn.
Still the first turn.
So we
Okay.
deployed our armies.
Yes.
And now he's taking his first turn, so he's moving his guys up, getting into position. We only start scoring in after the second turn, essentially.
Yeah.
So this is the sort of positioning turn.
So I must say, when I walked in here in the beginning, it all seemed very overwhelming. But the more I spent time watching and listening, and particularly at the end now, I watched some guys set up a game, and then I started to get more understanding and asking the questions. So I'd really encourage, if you're in the area, drop in and spend a bit of time, spend a half hour, spend an hour, and just listen. And these guys, it's amazing. They are all open to you asking questions as to how the game works and so on. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to the luck of the roll of the dice. So, and understanding the abilities of your soldiers or characters, if you want to call it that way. Well, I heard over here at Northcliff Corner, there is a hobby shop that has been here for 42 years. Can you believe it? One of the first shops in the building, and they are still here, and they sell table war games, and that is Esswex Specialist Hobbies. Oh, as you can see, ooh, what a nice hobby shop. Hi, how's it? I'm Brendan, how are you?
Hi, Dennis, how's it?
Oh, Dennis, how's it? Good, good, nice to meet you. But I've got a couple of questions about table war games. And they said it costs about 10,000 Rand to participate in plays.
You can start for a lot less money than that, and you can spend a lot more money than that.
Oh,
It all depends on how much money you got and how insane you are with trying to win. And if you take what you pay for your army as opposed to somebody paying for another army, you can get away at about $500.
Oh, really? Have you got any examples?
Something like that. There's an introductory set
Yes.
that has Space Marines and Tyranids. They have 2 races in the game.
Yes.
That's 1,090 Rand. So if you split 500,
Okay.
500, you've got
Okay.
what you need to start.
So
Every character in the game has got a point value. The rules tell you what the point values are, and they also tell you what the movement capability of the character is.
okay.
Once you've got those and you start out, basically everybody has an equal playing field. As you expand, you can decide how you want to play. You can play aggressively or you can play defensively. And depending on which route you decide, you then build your army on that basis. And you then go to this sort of stuff.
Okay. Oh, these are different. You can add to your army, in other
Yeah.
words.
Yep.
Okay.
This is one of the armies that's in that box. It's a Tyranid.
Yes.
And yeah, they're strange characters.
Okay.
But they lend themselves to all sorts of interpretations, including the painting of the figure,
Oh.
which is a huge part of what people do.
Explain to me how this point system works.
When you build an army, you say an army would normally, a tournament army would be 2,000 points. You would then take your army, and based on the point value of each figure, you would come up with 2,000 points. Then you would play those 2,000 points. You can play with 800 points.
So each player has the equal
Each-
amount of points.
Each player has an equal amount of points, assembled the way he wants to play the game. Okay. So if he wants to play an aggressive game, he may have strong aggressive stuff, but less models. If you want to play defensively, you may have less aggressive stuff, but more models.
So what you're saying is I can add, for example, something like this to my army.
You can add that to your army. You can get carried away and add that to your army.
I see. So long as I come up to the points and have somebody that agrees to play with me on the
Yes.
same amount of points.
Same number of points, yeah.
Okay, so what if I come with a real fancy character? Can it be beaten by
Yes.
smaller characters?
Yes, it's like Putin's finding out in Ukraine. Okay.
Okay.
He's got big fancy airplanes,
Yes.
and they shoot them down with drones.
Yes, yes,
Same thing
yes.
applies here.
Okay, I got you. Here
you go. That's what you get in the box.
Okay, let's see
And
what's
in this,
in the box.
there's a starting handbook,
Yes.
which will give you a lot of the basic information of what you're doing, and the value, the point value that you get with each of the
Oh, the
figures.
point value.
Yeah.
And I would imagine this is all the different functions. I mean, certain ones can shoot, other ones can use mind games.
That's exactly how the thing works.
Okay. Oh,
But when you get this, you also get some paints.
oh, this reminds me of when we were kids. We used to build model airplanes.
Yep.
Okay, so this is assembled. One of those characters assembled from this.
You just clip them together.
Okay.
There's doesn't take rocket science to put them together.
Yeah.
Where you really get to the point that they become pieces of art, works
Yes.
of art, is when you start doing that sort of thing.
See that? So it's painting them. Phew. Elaborate. Eh? You've actually got some on the table here as well, I see.
Yep.
Yeah. So in a game, if I came along this and this thing's worth 500 points, let's call it, and
Yeah.
then somebody else has got a lot of characters that make up the 500 points, it means we're equal.
We're equal.
But does that can this thing not just destroy those small guys?
If it's your turn to shoot, he could be in trouble.
Can the
could be-
small guys beat that
Yes.
thing? That's the way they do the game, I suppose.
That's the way the game works. The game works that the strength for the point value is about the same.
Okay, and then
Okay.
okay. Oh,
So if you put all your points into that,
yes.
that's what you got. I come along with 10 figures that have the same point value, I can take you out.
Ah, got you. I got you.
We've been talking the whole day about tabletop wargaming.
Yes, yes.
It is a generic name, it doesn't just apply to Warhammer. There are an infinite number of different tabletop wargames, including traditional World War II, World War I. Prior to that, we have people who've been playing for 30 or 40 years and have huge armies. To decide where you want to go and how much history you want or how much fantasy you want, we suggest you come in and come and talk to us. Let us show you what it's all about. You're welcome to come into Esswex at any point, and somebody's going to look after you and make sure that you understand what you're doing.
Got it.